The University of Mount Union is a small private liberal arts school in Alliance, Ohio, with an undergraduate enrollment of only 2,000 students. The school's athletic programs are all members of Division III, meaning that no scholarships can be offered. Yet, Mount Union owns one of the most dominant college football programs in the nation. How did this happen? What's the story behind the Dynasty of Mount Union? Success hasn't always been in the cards for Mount Union. After joining the Ohio Athletic Conference in 1914, the Purple Raiders played in the OAC for 71 years before winning their first conference title, which came in 1985 under coach Ken Wable. Since then, the program has won 30 titles in 35 years, including a 24-year streak from 1992 to 2015. During this run, the Purple Raiders went 214-2 versus OAC opponents. After taking the reins of the program in 1962, Ken Wable slowly started to rebuild the team. For the first decade plus of his tenure, Wable focused on creating a culture and getting the university in a position to succeed. In 1979, things really clicked as Wable coached the team to a winning record of 7-2. This was really a turning point, as every single season since, the program has finished a year with a winning record. In 1985, he led the Purple Raiders to their first conference title and first berth in the NCAA Division III football playoffs. Yet, this would mark the end of his tenure with the program, and his replacement would prove to be one of the greatest coaches ever. In 1986, Larry Karras took over as head football coach. His teams have won 11 NCAA Division III championships since then. Karras' teams also hold several NCAA records, in addition to owning the two longest winning streaks in NCAA history, 54 wins in 1996 to 1999 and 55 wins in 2000 to 2003. The Mount Union Purple Raiders won a conference title in 23 of 27 seasons. Even at the time of Karras' retirement, Mount Union had an ongoing streak of 21 conference titles. During his tenure, Karras only lost 8 games and tied 3 times in conference play. From 1994 to 2005, his squads won 100 consecutive games against OAC opponents. The 1994 season was the last under his reign in which the Purple Raiders lost more than one game. Finally, his record of 72-3 in his final 5 seasons is the best in college football history. Vince Karras, the son of Larry, who had previously served as defensive coordinator, was hired as the next head coach of Mount Union in 2013, replacing his father. And Vince kept the momentum going. During his time as a coach, Vince went 95-6, winning 6 OAC titles and 2 national championships in his 7 years. He was named OAC Coach of the Year 3 times. Yet, this past January, Vince announced his decision to leave Mount Union in order to become the defensive coordinator at Toledo under Jason Campbell, who I will talk more about later. Overall, Vince spent 13 years with Mount Union, 8 of which were as defensive coordinator. He left the university with the highest winning percentage in program history. Unsurprisingly, Mount Union kept it within the family for his replacement. Longtime assistant and defensive coordinator Jeff Dart was hired a few months ago as the new head man. But I'm not done raving about the accomplishments of Mount Union's coaches over the past 3.5 decades. Through the 2019 OAC season, the Purple Raiders have won 30 titles. They won their first OAC title in 1985 and repeated in 1986, followed by a third title in 1990. Beginning with their 1992 OAC championship, the team won 24 consecutive OAC titles, with their 2015 championship being the final in that streak. Through the 2018 season, Mount Union has won 13 Division III national championships and has 21 total appearances in the Stag Bowl, aka the title game, including 12 consecutively, along with 30 overall playoff appearances. In addition to their success on the field, Mount Union has also turned into a coaching factory. Numerous former Purple Raider players have launched coaching careers. Presently, Mount Union claims 2 FBS head coaches, in Iowa State's Matt Campbell and Toledo's Jason Campbell. Yet, these aren't just 2 average coaches. Matt Campbell has orchestrated a remarkable turnaround of ISU's football program, receiving tons of praise and winning the Big 12 Coach of the Year award twice. Campbell is one of the hottest names in football coaching and has been linked to a multitude of high-profile college and NFL jobs. He's a legitimate star in the profession. Jason Campbell took over for his former college teammate at Toledo, where he's gone 34-19 in his 4 years since replacing Campbell. Campbell won the 2017 MAC Coach of the Year award and also owns a high reputation as a super talented young coach. There are a variety of other Mount Union players that have good coaching positions. Jay Sawville is a defensive coordinator at Wyoming, and Ed Warner is a position coach at Michigan. Further, Nick Sirianni is the offensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts, and Alex Grinch is a defensive coordinator at Oklahoma. I want to speak briefly about the last two names I mentioned. Sirianni is recognized as one of the brightest young offensive minds in the NFL and could be in line for a head coaching job soon. Grinch is a star that is extremely coveted in the college game. After reviving Washington State's defense, Grinch had success at Ohio State before ultimately landing at Oklahoma. Grinch is one of the highest paid assistant coaches in the country, and for good reason. He won't be an assistant for much longer. In fact, he had a chance to interview for the head coaching job at Washington State, where he was the presumed favorite, but he opted to decline as he set his sights higher. You'll be hearing a lot more of the name Alex Grinch in short time. Even more remarkable is the fact that all of these star young coaches played at Mount Union at the same time. Grinch and Campbell went 54-1 as Mount players with 3 national championships. Campbell, who transferred to Mount for his final 2 seasons, never lost a game there. All 3 finished their careers during Mount's NCAA record 55-game win streak. The one loss Grinch and Campbell endured, which ended the 1999 season, snapped a 54-game win streak that had broken the previous NCAA record. Nick Sirianni played during the entire 55-game surge, which ended in his final game. But why is Mount Union such a good producer of coaches? Well, a lot of this has to do with the longtime headman of the Purple Raiders, Larry Karras. Karras employed many recent graduates on his staff as he persuaded them to pursue coaching and stay in the game. He taught them to be specific with both praise and criticism. He taught them to study behavior and to listen. He cautioned those who coached elsewhere not to thrust the Mount Union way on others. Quote, "It was like a modern-day think tank," Campbell said. "Every day he challenged you as a recruiter, he challenged you as a coach, and along the way, he was guiding you. That's really the reason why so many of us have had success in coaching. You almost went back and got your doctorate in management, in coaching, and how to lead a program." Karras' proteges also learned how to run practices. Really large practices. Because D3 has no scholarships, Mount Union often began seasons with rosters of 200, including 100 freshmen. Karras would run split squad 2-day practices, logging 2-hour blocks from 8 a.m. to noon, and again from 2 p.m. to 6. "That culture is with you forever," said Jason Campbell. "Unintentionally, there's something every day that comes either out of my mouth or some type of action I learned there. It was a very impressionable age for me and probably a perfect time to go through there and gravitate towards somebody who I ultimately wanted to be like someday." The demographics of the roster, between 150 and 200 non-scholarship players, create a unique competitiveness and interest in the game. If you aren't all in, you have little reason to be there. Quote, "When I was there, we had 150, 160 players on the team, and we had 1,300 students," said Jay Sawville, who played linebacker at Mount from 1989 to 1993. "So more than 10% of your campus played football. Obviously, there was a love for the game. The whole place was that way. Almost none could play football beyond the Division III level, but many wanted to stay involved. So they coached. However, some of them managed to be able to play at the next level. In fact, an incredible amount of them have, considering that they played collegiately at a D3 school. Just looking at the current era, there are 2 Mount Union alums that come to mind when talking about NFL success. First, Pierre Garcon was drafted in the 6th round by the Indianapolis Colts in 2008. He went on to play 10 solid years in the NFL. As for his career, he played in 148 games with 628 receptions for nearly 8,000 yards and 38 TDs. His 628 catches is 63rd all-time in NFL history. Cecil Shorts III was drafted in the 4th round by the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2011. For his career, he played in 70 games with 229 catches for just under 3,000 yards and 14 touchdowns. Overall, it's incredible to consider the dominance of the Mount Union football program. For such a small school, it's astonishing that they've been able to sustain such a high level of success for so long. I think the main takeaway of analyzing Mount Union is the importance of culture. Larry Karras was able to maintain a positive, team-focused culture that was felt by all student athletes, coaching staff members, and the surrounding community. The effects of this culture are still being felt by all football fans, as odds are, your favorite team has a coach or two with some connection to Mount Union. Mount Union is a model football program that deserves greater recognition. But now, I switch it over to you. What are your thoughts on Mount Union? Who do you think is the best dynasty in college football? I made a video about North Dakota State's dynasty. Check it out and tell me which one is better. Share the video with your friends and feel free to subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter and Instagram @RespectThePoint. Finally, be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. That is all for this one. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.